Hello, everyone. You're listening to the Small Business Show. My name is Swire Ho. You can also call me the promo guy. My guest today is Tanya Brody. She's an email marketing connection academy. She's a full stack direct response copywriter and an email marketing consultant. She worked with numerous companies to generate new leads, grow the email list, and turn new subscriber into customer. Currently and past clients includes humanitarian teams, Mary Swift International Lead Pages, and more. Taya firmly believes that every business needs an email list and should be emailing that list regularly to build a relationship with email subscriber and nurture them along the path to become happy, paying, loyal customer. Welcome to the show, Tanya.
Thank you so much, Swire. It's a pleasure to be here.
I think the last sentence of your bio is perfect. Makes them happy, paying, and loyal customer. So, but before we dive into that, I'd love to find out more about what your work and how did you get to become a copywriter and then email marketing consultant?
Sure. So before I was a copywriter, I was actually a touring Celtic musician.
Hmm.
I traveled all over the country playing Celtic music with a partner. And I mean, like, we literally did everything from like big Irish festivals and Scottish games to like public libraries. And a lot of what I did in that business was I ran our marketing
Hmm.
and we started an email list. And my very first email list was collected on a piece of paper, on a clipboard at all of our shows. And I had to then sit down and try and translate people's bad handwriting and make sure I actually got their email addresses right as I manually entered all of those email addresses after every show. So that's actually where I got started with email marketing is just, doing it for my own business when I was a musician. And I sent out a monthly newsletter. I always made sure I emailed all of the people in the area we were coming to who were on our list to let them know that we were going to be there and to bring their friends so that we always had people at our shows. So that is actually how I got started with email marketing, was just doing it for my own business. And I saw the value of it. I'm like, why would you not do this? Why would you not stay in touch with your your audience, your people, to let them know what's going on? It just made perfect sense, especially as a musician who needs an audience, who needs people to buy their CDs and their t-shirts and come and support them and all of that stuff. So but then after I was a professional musician, I'd already been doing all this marketing. So copywriting was the next logical step. I already had a degree in creative writing and theater. I may as well put that to good use. So I became a full-time, full stack direct response copywriter, and email marketing just felt like the natural thing to me. I'd been, like I said, I'd already been doing it, and I kind of love it. And I ended up going to work for a company called Lead Pages, which you mentioned earlier. And their big thing is creating that email list. And well, once you have that email list, you have to keep emailing people so they don't forget who you are. Because otherwise, you'll get someone on on your list and you're like, yeah, I've got someone on my list. But if you never actually email them, when you have that sale and you're ready to try and get them to buy, if you haven't given them any information about you, they're going to look at their inbox and go, who is this person and why are they in my inbox, and click delete. Or worse yet, click spam. And that's the last thing that you want. So that is how I got to where I am today.
Thank you for sharing, Tanya. That's interesting story is how we become what we are doing right now because of our past experience. So
Yeah.
we didn't train to be a certain profession, but then along the path, we like something that we have encountered, and that becomes what we do.
Yeah. And it's funny, the weird path that life takes us on. Like I said, I have a degree in creative writing and theater. I graduated from college qualified to run a small theater company and wash dishes. That's, seriously. But yet here I am running a small company, but it's, a totally different kind of small company. I'm serving business owners and helping all of you make your email marketing better, because it's such a great channel for marketing.
Mhm. Let's get started. I'm
Sure.
wondering myself too. So how do you build that list? It seems like, if I am a retail company already have my brand awareness, it will be easier. If I'm a celebrity, I'll be easier. But for all of us out there, small business, maybe we are in the commodity industry, maybe we're just starting out. So how do we build that list?
So there are two ways to do it. The first one is actually, believe it or not, simpler than you think it is, which is to make a list of all of the people you know who you think might be interested in receiving your emails. And I mean like actually know personally.
Mhm.
And you just you make that list and you start emailing them and you say, I am doing this thing. If you want to stay on this list, tell me. And then you start emailing them. You know, one of the things that I did when I wasn't touring full time for a while, I actually had a list. I was going through uh, acupuncture treatment, and it was a really new, weird thing for me. And so I just started writing about it and emailing it to a bunch of friends. It's like this was like one of my first, built email lists that had nothing to do with music, and it like there was no advertisement. It was literally this was my experience at the acupuncturist today. But the point being, you're creating your own community. So, you can start there, but what you want to be doing is reaching beyond those people. You want to be putting out what is referred to as a lead magnet, opt-in bribe, or freebie giveaway, that thing that you go to a company's website and they're like, download our coupon, or download this free report, or get this free checklist, whatever that is. And you want to set one of those up and then have a way for people to give you their email address in exchange for that thing. If you go to my website, you will see a big pop-up for my list of 30 subject lines that helps that keep your subscribers opening and reading every email. And what that is literally it's 30 subject lines with writing prompts that you can use to write your own emails. Because like I said, you got to keep writing those nurture emails so people remember who you are. So you want something like that that's relevant to your business.
Mhm.
So, you're the promo guy. So for you, it would be something like the top 10 most popular promo items for your business to share with your customers, just as a random example.
Yeah, that would bring me to my next question. And it's funny that you mentioned me. Like I do that, but sometimes I am having a hard time. Not a hard time, like I have to think. Like I always talk about like 10 best things of something,
Mhm.
right? Next time I'll do 10 best thing of something again. Like for
Right.
me, it's so I've been writing that for a long time, but then for obviously for subscriber or for people who haven't read that piece, it's
Mhm.
new to them. So how would you suggest that we engage ourselves, right? If we write the same thing over and over again, it gets to us. Like, do you feel that way?
I'm a copywriter. I always feel that way. And that is one of the things. And here's a really important thing to remember. As an expert in any given field, whether you are a copywriter or a musician or someone who specializes in promo materials, um, you know your business, you know everything about it, and to you it's normal, right? So to someone who's never seen it before, never dealt with it before, or is trying to learn more about it, it's new and exciting.
Mhm.
So if you come at whatever it is you're writing about, whatever it is you're promoting from a beginner's mindset, that whole idea that you've never dealt with this before, what can you learn from it? Even you as the expert will find things that you can learn with the beginner's mindset. But think about it from the perspective of someone who has never given away a promotional item before. It's like, okay, so what should that even be?
Mhm.
You know, when I was a musician, we had a really hard time figuring out what that was. It ended up being stickers with our logo. That was easy, you know. So, but what if I wanted to do something different? What else could I do? What else would be meaningful, besides my CDs and T-shirts
Mhm.
to my audience? So I would have no idea what to start with after stickers, because stickers are easy.
Would you
Right?
suggest to like ask your subscriber, like, what question do you guys have for us? Like we could,
Mhm.
touch on that if that's your interest.
Yeah. And that is actually one of the best ways to get fodder for your emails, by the way, is to ask your subscribers. Think about the questions that your customers ask you. That's an email topic.
Hmm.
They're just total aside, but this is actually a thing about SEO, but it's still applicable to email. There was a pool company, I think in Maryland, that managed to get the top spot for pools, service companies like nationwide,
Mhm.
just by writing blog posts that answered their customers' questions.
Yeah.
Because that's stuff people want to know. So if you get someone on your email list and they're a total newbie to copywriting, to email marketing, to promotional materials, you want to give them that information so that they have the same information you do and can do something with it for their business, for their lives, whatever that may be. And basically, someone joins your email list because they're interested in what it is you have to offer. When someone downloads that lead magnet, they're raising their hand going, yes, I am interested. This looks totally cool to me. This may solve my problem. And my favorite description of the anyone's ideal customer is, at some point, that is the person that is sitting in front of their computer in the middle of the night in their pajamas because they can't sleep, because this problem, whatever that problem may be, is keeping them up at night.
Hmm.
So that is, and when I'm a copywriter, that is the person I am speaking to. What is the problem that is keeping you up at night? What is the thing that has brought you to your computer to read my webpage, my email, my whatever, my blog post in the middle of the night? How can I solve that problem? How can I serve you and give you the information you need to make an informed decision? Email is one of the best ways to do that. And here's why. Social media is great. It's wonderful. It's a really good way of bringing people into our world. But the big problem with social media is it's so noisy. There's so many other distractions out there. I like to compare email marketing and social media to social media is like being in the middle of a crowded dance floor at a big party and trying to have a conversation with someone with all of the pumping noise, all of the flashing bodies, it's like all of this stuff going on around you. And like, you're going, what? Huh?
What did you say?
Huh? And email is more like someone inviting you into their living room to have a conversation, to actually like just sit down and have a cup of tea and a chat. You have their undivided attention. They're interested in what you have to say because they've said, yes, I want to receive your emails. I want you to show up in my inbox and give me this information. So it's a huge difference. And that's why I say everyone needs an email list. Is so you can stay in touch with those customers. Now, here's a really important little factoid. Depending on your channel and your niche, you will get 1 to 10 or 1 in 100 people who buy on that first touch from you. The person who sees that Facebook ad or comes to your website and you're like, yes, that's what I need right there. What
You
about
got
all
lucky
those
then.
other people?
If it happened, you got lucky.
Yeah, you got lucky. What about all of those other people? That's where you're leaving money on the table, and that's where your email list comes in. Because maybe, let's say, you got those 10 people, that one person buys, but those other 9 say, well, I'm really interested, but I don't have enough information yet. Or I'm really interested, but I'm just not quite sure yet. So when you give them that lead magnet, that thing that gives them more information, and you start emailing them, you build trust, you build your expertise, and you're building a relationship with them. You're giving them something, and in exchange, they will want to give you their business, which is huge. And just doing that is going to result in more purchases, which
Mhm.
is the whole point of having an email list, is to get those further purchases. Because maybe you might not get all 9 of those people, but even if you get 3 of them, that's still 3 more new customers that you didn't then have to go pay social media ads or pay-per-click ads or whatever advertising form you're using, because they already came to you. They are a captive audience, if you will.
Mhm. Well, Tanya, I know we talked a lot about, you talk about a lot about engaging with, your email list subscriber.
Mm-hmm,
And I know the value proposition is there, right? You
mm-hmm,
have to understand what their concerns about, not what you want to do. Like I know we all want to sell our product and services at the end, right? That's how we keep our lights on. But customer, they care about themselves. They want to see, what if I do this? Can this solve my problem? Or if I get your services, am I able to live my life better? So I
mm-hmm.
think there's some figuring out involved, right? To provide the right content. Other ways that you would suggest to engage with customer, I think like with using me as an example with promotional product, I would almost want to do like a poll or like a questionnaire, like pick 4, like what are you most concerned about when you think about our industry, and then when they pick or choose, or I can actually ask my paying customer, what do you guys care most about, and then as me, the promo guy, I'm going to research and bring you that content that you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that might be a better approach? Like, how do we get really good feedback to write the correct content for our subscribers?
So I have what I refer to as an email welcome sequence, which is that first set of emails that someone receives from me. And in my second email, I actually ask people, tell me what it is about email marketing that is your biggest challenge or frustration. And you can either just respond to this email or click right here and fill out this 1 question survey.
Mm,
And that I get a lot of response from that. And it is literally, it's an open-ended question that just lets people vent. And believe me, there are people who vent. And that's the most valuable information in the world, because I'm getting my customers' actual words, I'm getting their actual concerns, and I can then take that information and go, oh, that's your problem. Here's how you solve that. And I put that out as an email, and I say, I got, a response from someone lately who asked me this question. And here's the answer. And here's why this matters. And my favorite thing in the world to remind everybody in business is it's not about you, it's about your customers. They are asking, every consumer, you and I, when we are being consumers, ask the question, what's in it for me?
mhm.
That is the question you need to answer in every aspect of your marketing. What's in it for your end user? And to quote one of my favorite copywriters, Mr. Nick Usborne, the formula is help, 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 sell. So the first thing you do is you help someone. You give them the answer to that question. Then you help them a little bit more by saying, okay, so now that you have this question solved, what about that question? What about the next step on your journey? Then you position your product or service as that solution. So it's a process. It's not a buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, which is what I see so many businesses doing. It's a, how can I serve you? How can I give you what you need to solve your problem? And here's this thing that will help you solve this problem. Here's the information you need to use it most effectively in your life and to understand how it will help you.
Mhm. As a small business professional, I think like the most frequently asked question that you receive, Tanya, are probably money question, right? How much does it cost, right, to do me? And I think the second most frequently asked question is, how long does it take? I know that is it depends question, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Like, if we are really serious about building a list,
Mhm.
engaging with a subscriber, like how long do you think it normally takes for us to start seeing the result that we wanted?
Okay, so first of all, a few fascinating statistics about email. Um, email marketing has a 440, what is it, 400, 4,000 percent. Yes, that's it, 4,400%. That's the number. Return
Wow,
on investment. Sorry about that.
really?
Yeah, and basically that means for every dollar you put into your email marketing, you can earn up to $44 back. That's
That's good.
incredible.
That's really good.
There is no other marketing channel that will deliver that. Now, what that takes is getting someone onto your list to be able to do that.
Mhm.
So, email marketing, if you think about it, is sort of a back end thing. It's not flashy like Facebook ads. It's not engaging like going out on podcasts like we're doing right now. Um, but what it is it's that continued relationship builder. And when you put money into it, which, yes, does mean setting up that email funnel to deliver that lead magnet and send that welcome sequence to welcome people into your community and to give them that first chance to buy your product or service, then that is going to basically push everyone towards making that purchase. Now, I've had people on my email list who buy like within 3 or 4 emails. I've had people on my email list who literally take years to buy.
Mhm.
And this, at every single person with an email list will tell you this. But we're all at different places in what's called the buyer's journey. I'm sure you've probably heard of the hero's journey, the famous Joseph Campbell, uh, circle of how mythology evolves. Star Wars, standard hero's journey story. In fact, George Lucas actually wrote it off of Joseph Campbell's writings. Now, we as customers, each of us has a buyer's journey where, we start out on that, I have this problem I need to solve. I have no idea how to solve this problem. And then, oh, there's a thing out there that can help me solve this problem. How do I get that thing? And then you go in search of that thing. And that thing helps you have the transformation in your life. It solves your problem that brings you back to the top of that cycle of, I am now the hero. I have achieved my mission. I am bringing my adventure, my story back to my community. And somewhere in there is the guide, which is a critical part of that hero's journey. And on your hero's journey, Swire, I am your guide. I am not your hero. You are the hero. I am the hero. Yeah, I am the guide. I am the person who is helping you along the way. And that's what email marketing does. It lets you be that guide. It lets you be that person that someone can turn to and go, I have no idea what to do next. And you say, well, here's the thing you need to know. Now go take care of this. It gives you that chance to be that relied upon, trusted source of information so that when that person is actually ready to take that step and buy, they're going to turn to you as opposed to your competitors.
Mm. So it really depends, right? It depends. Some
Yeah.
of the items that we do are easy, right? A cup of coffee, or versus if you want to buy a house, obviously that's
That's a
maybe
much
once in a
longer,
lifetime decision. But
much longer
there
buying time.
are people who we are set where we always have a brand or an expert in mind already.
Mhm.
If we decided to do things in their particular industry, this is the only company or the only person, right? The only
Right.
coaches that we will work with. So, and it takes time. And while you're talking, I'm thinking about how do we really build trust? And then I am trying to remember like the email newsletter that I subscribe, that
Mhm.
I'm willing to open every single day. Sometimes they come every day, sometimes they don't. Like even in the professional world, and then in my own little things that I like, my hobbies that I will open from a certain company right away. Why is that? Why do I do that? I'm thinking about that, and it's interesting, right? Because I trust them, right,
Yeah,
in their particular industry, and that's why I do that. Versus, you could spend a lot of money paying. Buying ads, maybe hiring influencer, try to influence, or maybe you take out a Super Bowl ad or Oscar ad, try to have people buy. If they don't trust you and if they don't know about your brand, then it might not be as effective than if you see the email, you know what to expect, and it seems like the person who's writing it understand what I'm going through, so I really trust this person.
exactly. And that's why it's actually worth having that person's exact words, because you can literally say those words back to them and they're like, oh my God, you get me. Because when someone says exactly what you just said to them, you feel understood. It's like, if you, Swire, let's say you said, oh my gosh, I'm having the worst trouble with, reaching out to my customers. I don't know how to do it. It's really confusing me. And if I come back to you and say, Swire, I am so sorry you're having such a hard time reaching out to your customers and getting them to engage with you because you just don't know where to turn, you're going to feel seen. You're going to feel heard. You're going to feel understood. And isn't that what we all want? Right? We all want someone to go, yes, I get you. I hear you. And you can totally do that with your email marketing. You can totally do that by listening to your customers and hearing what they have to say and showing them that A, you get it, and B, you have solutions for them. And that's going to make you that trusted expert. That's going to make you that person that they turn to when they're ready, whenever that is, on their hero's journey. And they're going to come to you and say, yep, this is it. I'm ready. I'm going to plunk down my hard-earned cash. I'm good.
So I think everything you said, Tanya, like is really good. I'm asking this question for myself,
Okay.
and I'll also for all of us out there who aren't a writer. Like I could talk for a long time, as you could probably tell. I have a podcast, and I also guest on other people's podcasts when they ask me like bunch of promotional product question. But if you ask me to sit down, write a blog post, or like you said, have suggested a email newsletter, I found myself really, I'm staring at my keyboard. I want to smash my keyboard. So I know that we have, we haven't mentioned ChatGPT. Now we're going to mention it. It's been a little help, right? For
Mhm.
what I do, I can actually use that to transcribe my guest episode of podcast and turn it into somehow like 60% ish, type of format, and I will edit it. So it helps me. But really, the question is, if I'm not a writer and I know the importance for writing a email marketing campaign, like how do we get started? Like, what do we write first?
Oh my goodness, that is the problem that everyone tells me. When I say, do you have any emails? They go, no. I say, why not? Because I never know what to write.
Mhm.
And that is a totally fair thing. Because again, this comes from being too good at what we do. You know all this stuff. It's normal to you. It's boring. But remember, the person who has no clue really wants to know. So the easy place to start is with the really basic stuff. When I start with email marketing, when I start with specifically writing nurture emails, I start with, here's the basic stuff you need to know. And a lot of it is what we've been talking about here on this podcast. And another thing that you can do is, you just pointed out, Swire, you talk. You're really good. You could talk about what you do until the cows come home, right?
Mhm.
Pick up your phone. Use the voice memo recorder. Talk. Talk into that recorder. Stop. Put it into Otter AI or ChatGPT or whatever it is. Get it transcribed.
Mhm.
That's your email. Obviously, you want to refine it a little bit so you're not saying but that's a perfectly good way to write. And then you basically put some sort of call to action on it, like read my blog post, visit, schedule a call with me, what have you. And that's a perfectly good email. There is no fine art, perfect structure to email. And that's part of the beauty of it, in my opinion.
Hmm.
Sales pages have a structure that you're supposed to follow. Blog posts have a structure that you're supposed to follow. Emails really are more like that conversation. They're more personal. You are literally coming into someone's inbox. Like I said, like inviting someone into your living room. So they don't have to follow an absolute structure. Now, I have one that I teach, but it's pretty much that you need to have a subject line, an introduction, a body, and a call to action. That's pretty easy. Most people can do that. So there are a lot of different ways you can write an email. Again, that's why I have that 30 subject lines, is because people really don't know what to write. But all of these subject lines are generic enough that you can apply them to your business really easily. And there are writing prompts that will actually help you get started. ChatGPT is actually, this is, in my opinion, one of the things that AI is really, really good at, is coming up with these ideas for
Yeah.
you to write about.
Hmm.
Now, I will be completely honest with you. I use ChatGPT all the time. I am a firm believer in actually using the tools. I do not let it write my emails. I'm a professional copywriter. I should be able to write my own emails.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to let it get me started. I will then go through and make sure everything is correct, because we all know ChatGPT is making some of this stuff up. It doesn't understand what you do for a living.
Hmm.
It's not you. It's been trained on gigabytes and gigabytes and gigabytes of information. It's not going to know what you specifically do. You have to go in and make sure that everything represents you well. But the other thing is, you want to make sure that your personality is going to show through.
Yeah.
And you are not a robot. Computers do not know how to human yet. Sorry, they just don't. So you have to go in and look at what was written and then take it and put it in your own voice. But it's going to give you great ideas. It's going to give you great starting points. And it's going to give you a framework that you can use. Just like, you're not staring at that blank page anymore, which is what most people want. So, important point, what you put into a writing prompt is what you get out of a writing prompt. So if you just say, ChatGPT, write me an email for my customers, it's going to say, okay, because it won't know what that means.
Hmm.
You have to give it the information. ChatGPT, write me an email that will appeal to people who want to use promotional items in their business to drum up to attract more customers. Well, that at
Yeah.
least gives it a start.
I'll ask a lot of prompts too. Like I think,
Mhm.
one way it does is, I'm saying it on the show, I can be mean to it, but then it still works for me, right?
Right.
I'll ask, act as if you are a marketing manager who are, going to a trade show. All the prompts that I know
Mhm.
customer buy from us, what do they think about? Like, what
Right.
do they concern about? Like, why is it that they want to, buy what we do? And then it actually gives me sometimes a little bit too much information. It'll give me like a whole paragraph or
Mhm.
points that I should be right about. I think it's good. And I think Tanya, you also mentioned it. We listed the most frequently asked question on a website. I think a lot of website does, like, that's like the 10 most popular question that I could actually put that in a email form in my actual voice.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I come to believe that, people sometimes work with me, the promo guy, because like they like, some way that I talk and do my thing. So maybe it will also introduce to them what kind of person is this promo guy, right? I think a lot of times, especially when we do the B2B, it's not just the product anymore. They want to see the person, that they're dealing with. Like, who is this guy? Who's this person? Are we able to trust him or her about things that we're about to do? If you're able to turn your personality, or maybe you're unique, right, in your email newsletter, not written by a robot, then maybe you could attract some of the people that are connected to you. Obviously, there are those who are maybe turned away by your certain energy. It happens, and no, not everyone can be your customer. You have to understand that.
That's absolutely true. So I think that something that's really, really important is that all relationships in marketing, whether you're B2B or B2C, business to business or business to consumer, are actually P2P, person to person. You need to show yourself. You need to show who you are. And that's a big part of what's going to attract people to your business. We all have our favorite brands, right? Whether you like a certain kind of, dishwashing liquid, or you like a certain kind of toothpaste, those brands have created a personality of some sort, a way to appeal, to attract their right people. Now, there are still hundreds of other toothpastes out there, but that brand has created something that appeals to those particular customers. And you're not going to be everybody's cup of tea. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
There are lots of other email marketers out there. But for the people who resonate with me, who understand what I say, and it makes sense to them, those are the people who are going to come to me. Those are my customers. Those are the people who I'm going to want to work with and who I can help the best. If someone comes to your business and they're like, what you're saying makes absolutely no sense to me, it's going to be really hard for you to break through and make sure you're communicating on the right level. Whereas if someone comes to you and they're like, you make so much sense. I have never heard anyone say this like this before. Thank you so much. That's your customer. That's the person you want to be appealing to. And you need to let that shine through in your emails, in your online promos, in your podcasts, in your brochures, in whatever it is you're doing, because that's what's going to bring people in. And it's going to bring the right people in. So many businesses say, when I ask, who's your ideal client? They're like, oh, anybody with a pulse. No. Because anybody with a pulse isn't the person who has the problem that your product or service solves. That's your first layer. Then it's the people who resonate with you and what you're doing, the way you explain things, and the way your product solves that problem.
I think, Tanya, you explain it perfectly. Let me put it in a sales perspective. Like, you put it, you charge let's say you charge a set amount of hours, right, for your services, or you sell your product. There are people who are willing to buy from you today, and they are really happy to work with you. So, and there are others who, if you bend a little bit, they might work with you, but they're a horrible customer. So same experience, like you go through that in your day. What if you have worked with all happy customers, right? You describe in your bio, and you work with all grumpy customer who are challenging you every step of the way, who micromanage you, like the worst customer. Which way do you willing to work? Like, how much would you willing to bet your health on that? But by writing the right email, you can actually communicate. So you attract, people who like you already. Then you might actually filter people. I don't like this person. I don't like the promo guy. I'll go somewhere else. And that's okay sometimes. I think this turning to like a therapy session for people who are in sales who are pulling their hair out, right? I think you mentioned it like so much better, Tanya, right? With the way that you bring them to your journey along the way, you trust that person. So when you actually click buy or pick up the phone to call, I already made up my mind.
Yeah, they're coming to you as a ready to purchase person. They're good. They're good. You've given them the information they need. They're ready to click on that button or make that phone call or place that order. That's exactly what you want, and that's what email marketing can do for you. It's It's that salesperson that never sleeps, if you will. But I want to hit on that point that you were just talking about is, it as business owners, it saps our energy to have customers who are not the right fit for us.
Mhm.
And I think that we have this mentality that we have to have all the customers. We have to have everyone we possibly can. And the truth is, we don't. We need the people who are going to work best for our business and help our business grow. And that's not everybody. I'm a pretty happy-go-lucky person. I'm not one of those, I'm going to get angry at every single thing people. And if someone is like that, I don't necessarily want them as my client,
Mhm.
because we're not going to communicate well, and I'm not going to be able to help them as much as I could someone who's also kind of happy-go-lucky, easygoing like me, because it's going to be easier for me to write their copy, but it's also going to be easier for me to help their business grow because I believe in what they're doing.
Mhm.
And as a B2B person, that's something else you're doing. You're not just helping a specific customer. It's like, you're ringing someone at the grocery store. You are literally helping another business grow.
Mhm.
And so we need to think about what is beyond just the person we're dealing with. There's all that other stuff. There's their community. There's, their family. There's the entire world. It's how are we affecting what we're putting out? How is that affecting all of the people we're working with? And the more we can call those right people into us, our businesses are going to go faster, which is what we all want, right?
Mhm.
But also, we're going to be able to serve our people better. We're going to be able to give them an experience that makes them really happy, that helps their business grow, that helps them become better people in their world so that they can do the same for their people, and so on and so on and so on. And ultimately, we're all interconnected in some way or another, right?
Yeah, I
So,
will go back to your bio one last time, I promise. Like
okay.
you really mentioned it best, right? I'm looking at it right now. Happy, paying, loyal. So
Yes.
if they're happy, then chances are you're going to be happy, for your day.
Mhm.
And they're paying, so that obviously explains itself. And they're loyal, so they will work with you over and over again whenever that they have a chance. Imagine that you are working with a bunch of people who are grumpy, not happy with you, and they're sometimes not paying, and then they change vendor or they shop around every single time. Like I don't even have to explain you which side you pick, but I think
Yeah.
Tanya, you gave us a lot of good framework about email marketing, like a good therapy session for a small business professional, why we should, focus on people care about our work,
Mhm.
because that's very important. It's very challenging as it is as a small business professional. We also want to be circled by people who support us, people who pay us, people who are loyal to our brand, right? So then to go out, people who are in a dark world that not paying you and then just don't care about your product and service. Maybe you just happen to be at the right place and they just
Yeah.
mess with you for a little bit. But for a listener who wanted to find out more about what you do, what would be the best way to connect with you?
Well, the best way to connect with me is to go to TanyaBrodyCopywriter.com. That is my website. You will see all sorts of blog posts about all of this stuff. But also, you will be able to download my lead magnet, which is that 30 subject lines that will help you get your subscribers to open and read your emails. And most importantly, they'll help you write those emails so you're getting them out into the world. So check that out. You will then get my welcome sequence, so you'll be able to see what that's all about. And you're going to get some really useful information on email marketing. I do actually want to point out one more thing about people who are loyal. Those loyal customers, they recommend you to their family and friends,
Yeah.
which is huge. It's another big way to grow your customers, because the best marketing is word of mouth. Think about the last time you wanted to buy a car or buy a bike, or any purchase. I wanted to try a new kind of product. What do you use? You ask a friend. Well, guess what? If someone really likes you and you're their go-to, they're going to recommend you. So that's another reason to be building this relationship, is so that all of those happy paying loyal customers say, Oh my gosh, you need promo material? Talk to my buddy Swire.
Mhm. Last thought. I think the best talk that I have learned is how to double yourself without gaining a single customer. That's exactly what you just talked about. So in the B2B world, there are customers that could really make a day, make a career, right?
Mhm.
So you don't really need other client, but to work with the same big company and do good work, and they will recommend you to different department, different team, right? So if the company is big enough in the B2B world, that might be it. I
Mhm.
actually have tried a strategy, do good work, so I can actually get the referral and actually have done it myself. So I think, Tanya, really happy to have you on the show today. So you validate a lot of my point and you help me take on my stress, I would say. Like, really, thank you for being a good guest on the show.
You are very, very welcome. It was an absolute pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Tanya.